Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from and who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another Let's Do the Spirit. Now I'm entitled this one, Digital ID is the precursor to the motb. Going into what's happening over there in the UK, where the mandatory digital ID has been passed, where you're going to have that digital ID to be able to participate in society, to be able to have a job, to be able to rent an apartment, buy groceries, which is pretty much what the motb consists of. And that's Esau, Edom, conditioning these people through gradualism. So eventually, once that mandatory micro CHIP gets passed, these people aren't going to bat an eye. They're going to take it, because they're already accustomed to not having cash. They're already accustomed to not having their wallet on them. So how much more when it's made mandatory, when you can't have a job, you can't buy groceries, your little ones are hungry. So it's going to be nothing for these people to bow the knee to this devil, because they're not going to have no choice. They fully invested in this system. So it's going to get to the point where like, shit, I have nowhere to go. The micro CHIP is the only way out. And that's what these people are going to do, because they've been so conditioned by the so-called white man Esau, Edom, that it's going to be nothing for them to take it. They got them accustomed to this convenient lifestyle, everything being given to them at the click of a button. And even these Israelites that are claiming to be the prophets of the Lord, they're about to be found out to be phonies too, because the prophecies are speaking loud and clear, but only the elect are going to see these prophecies and understand what is leading into, while the rest of these people in the world, they're lost in the sauce. This is Ezekiel chapter 12 and verse 21. And it reads, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying," verse 22, "Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged and every vision faileth?" And that's what our people love to say. That motb, that micro CHIP prophecy, y'all been saying that for decades. It's never going to come to pass. Or, they say, nah, that ain't it. That micro CHIP, that ain't the motb. The motb is sin. The motb is an embargo. The motb is white women. That's what these jakes in the world love to say. But now Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is stopping all that bullshit doctrine. And he's allowing these prophecies to speak loud and clear. So these jakes, these Israelites that claim that they're in the truth, they're not going to have an excuse, because it's being made evident what the motb is, through this digital ID system being passed over there in the UK, and it is eventually going to come over here to America. Verse 23, "Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision." So the Lord is stopping these Israelites from saying, oh, nah, that motb, or maybe let's say, they do believe is the micro CHIP, but they love to say, nah, okay, it is the micro CHIP, but maybe it's decades away, hundreds of years away. That's not going to come in my lifetime, so I don't have to worry about it. That's what these jakes are saying, because a lot of them, they do believe that it's the micro CHIP, but they don't want to go through the trials and tribulations that is going to require to get to the kingdom. So they rather push it off to a different generation, because they know what the results, the consequences of taking that motb is as well. So they're scared. They're like, nah. And then you have the unbelievers. They're like, nah, I don't believe that's the motb. I don't believe that it's going to happen. But the Lord is stopping all these proverbs in Israel, because The bulk of the 12 tribes is mainly here in America, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Verse 24, for there shall be no more any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. So the Lord is stopping all these false prophecies, these false divinations. The Christian church, oh no, Jacob's trouble is never going to come. They don't even speak about Jacob's trouble, but let's say, you're not going to have to go through anything to get to the kingdom of heaven. Like that, like the rapture, doctrine that didn't happen. Those Christians didn't get raptured. Now they're bugging out of their mind. Yeah, these Christians, they're bugging out in their minds. So very soon, all these Israelites, they're not going to have an excuse. It's being evident what the micro-CHIP is. This is Ezekiel chapter 12 and verse 25. For I am the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that's what the Lord is doing. He's performing all these prophecies that have been spoken of thousands of years ago. But yet, majority of our people, they're in deep sleep. They don't see it. So the Lord is stopping, all the shit talking, all the scoffing and mocking. Verse 26, again, the word of the Lord came to me saying, verse 27, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come. And he prophesied of the times that are far off. Verse 28, therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, said the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that's what's happening. It's being made evident what the micro-CHIP is. It's being made evident that we're at the end. But yet, majority of our people don't see it because they've been given over to Satan spiritually, and then eventually they're going to be given over to Satan, and his physical counterpart, the so-called white man Esau, Edom physically. When they go down there and take that motb because they lack the faith. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai didn't give them the gift of faith. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. And I will stand up on my watch and set me up on a tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And that's what the elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai will be doing in these last days. Standing on that watchtower, watching out for the prophecies. But only the elect are going to be doing that, while the rest of these 2/3 Jakes and even these Israelite camps that are teaching false doctrine, these Christian churches, they're not doing that. They're not warning their congregation. They're not blowing the trumpet like, okay, you see this mandatory digital ID? That's a precursor to the motb. They're not telling their congregation that. Verse 2, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. And these prophecies, these visions, they're plain unto the elect. They can see, okay, that mandatory digital ID. Okay, that's a precursor to the motb. We're almost here. Deliverance is almost here. Lord willing, be a part of that number. But to the rest of our people, the 2/3, they see it and they're like, nah, that don't mean nothing. That's just another law being passed. I'm going to continue on with my daily life, eating, drinking, giving into marriage, and not worried about prophecy. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And it's not tarrying. It is being made clear that we're at the end. That we're at the end of Esau, Edom's kingdom. That we're at the end of the so-called white man being in rulership. But first, he's going to try to take out as many people out with him. Because that's how this devil plays. Like, if nobody can have it, if I can't have it, then nobody can have it. I'm going to take everybody down with me. And that's what he's going to do. When he micro-CHIPs majority of the people up on the planet Earth, he micro-CHIPs 2/3 of Jake over here in America to receive those missiles. That's what's going to happen to these people over here in America who choose to take that motb. Because it's gonna be a conscious decision. but they're going to take it because it's going to be so bad. They're not going to have any jobs. They're going to not be able to go to the grocery store. There's not going to be any food. So Esau, Edom, he's going to put that squeeze on these people. So it's going to be nothing for them to take it because they lack faith. These 2/3 Jakes, they lack faith. And even these Edomites over here in America that refuse to take it, even if they don't take it, and they're able to live off the grid, in their bunkers, these preppers, you still got those missiles coming. So ultimately, the only way out of here is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But yet, majority of our people, they don't see these prophecies that is clear and evident that Revelation chapter 13 and 16 is basically here. But only the elect have been given that eyesight to understand, okay, we're almost here. We're almost out of here. Only a couple more prophecies before the destruction of America, World War III. So these prophecies gotta come to pass. So, what these Christians believe, rapture, no, they're basing that off, the elect getting beamed up, and that's what we're hoping for, to get beamed up, Lord willing, to be a part of the elect, but we know that these prophecies gotta come to pass first. The collapse of the dollar, which is going to lead to these nations that are going to that third world war, which is going to lead to that mandatory implementation of the motb, and then eventually that's when the destruction of America is going to come. But those prophecies gotta come to pass. Not know, okay, I'm not going to go through no hell, I'm not going to have to go through anything. The kingdom of heaven is just going to be given, without any effort. No, the scriptures make it plain and clear that, through much tribulation, you're going to have to go through that straight gate to get to the kingdom of heaven. But we're almost there. It is being made evident through these prophecies, happening upon the planet Earth. But only the elect are going to see it and know that their salvation draws nigh, while the rest of these 2/3 Jakes, they're going to be lost in the sauce till they get destroyed. But that's pretty much the point. I pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who are learning this truth and who do it well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude, until I say Shalom.